How do you let a contract signing spiral so far out of control that it feels less like a formality and more like the opening shot of a war? Because that's exactly what happened on SmackDown, February 25th, 2022. And if you think this was just another boring table in the ring, please sign here segment. You weren't watching closely enough. This wasn't business. This was ego. This was legacy. This was dominance. This was two alphas in the same jungle, and only one throne. And I need you to tell me something right now before we go any further. When two men both claim to be the greatest of all time, who breaks first? Drop it in the comments. Because by the end of this video, you might completely change your answer. The ring was set up in the most deceptively calm way possible. Table. 2 chairs. 2 contracts. 2 microphones. One authority figure standing by like he actually believed he had control of the situation. We've seen this scene 100 times before, but this time, the tension was different. You could feel it through the screen. You could hear it in the crowd, not loud, not chaotic, but buzzing. Like everyone in that arena knew something explosive was about to happen. And then the music hit. First, the tribal chief. Slow walk. Cold stare. Title over his shoulder. The kind of aura that doesn't ask for acknowledgement, it demands it. And the crowd reaction? Divided, loud, electric. He didn't rush. He didn't smile. He didn't look concerned. Because why would he? He's the head of the table. He's smashed everyone. He's beaten legends. He's carried the company on his back. In his mind, this was just another signature before another victim. But then, the beast arrived. No elaborate entrance. No wasted motion. No theatrics. Just raw presence. And you could feel the temperature change in the building. When Brock Lesnar walks out, it doesn't feel like an entrance. It feels like a storm rolling in. And here's my question for you. Who has the stronger aura? The tribal chief or the beast? Think about it carefully. Comment it below. Because that contrast, that clash of identities is what made this segment combustible. They sit across from each other. No smiles. No handshake. No nod of respect. Just eye contact. Long, unbroken. Uncomfortable. And that's when you realize, this isn't about a championship belt. This is about supremacy. It starts with words. But not just any words. Calculated words. The tribal chief begins controlled, confident, almost amused. He speaks like someone who already knows the outcome. He reminds Brock of who runs the show now. He talks about dominance, about smashing opponents, about being on a different level. But here's the brilliance. He doesn't yell. He doesn't panic. He doesn't overdo it. He speaks like a king addressing a challenger. And Brock listens. But Brock doesn't look impressed. He looks entertained. And that's dangerous. Because when Brock Lesnar is amused, someone is about to get embarrassed. Now, let me ask you this. Do you think mind games work on Brock Lesnar? Yes or no? Be honest. Because that's what Roman tried to do here. He tried to get in Brock's head. He tried to remind him that this isn't the same landscape, that this is his island now. But then, Brock grabs the mic. And everything changes. He doesn't speak like a villain. He doesn't speak like a monster. He speaks like a man who knows something the other guy doesn't. He laughs. Not a nervous laugh. Not a fake laugh. A confident laugh. And that laugh alone shifted the energy in the arena. Because it said one thing. I'm not intimidated. Then he fires back. He talks about championships. He talks about WrestleMania. He talks about history. But more importantly, he talks about endings. And when Brock Lesnar talks about ending someone's reign, it doesn't feel like hype. It feels like prophecy. Now tension is rising. The crowd is reacting to every word. Every pause feels loaded. And then, the contract gets pushed across the table. The pen is placed down. And for a moment, just a moment, it looks like this might actually stay professional. Roman signs. Calm. Deliberate. No hesitation. He slides the contract toward Brock. And this is where it gets psychological. Brock doesn't immediately sign. He stands up. He looks at Roman. He circles the table slightly. The camera zooms in. The crowd noise builds. And you can feel it, that thin thread of civility snapping. Let me ask you something. If you're Roman Reigns in that moment, do you stay seated or do you stand up too? Because staying seated looks calm, but standing up shows you're ready. What would you do? Drop it below. Because Roman stays seated. And that's power. He refuses to react. He refuses to flinch. And Brock signs. Hard. Fast. Violent. The pen almost snaps. And just like that, the contract is official. But this is Ring Rumble. And you already know, it was never going to end with signatures. Because pride doesn't end with paperwork. It escalates. Brock smirks. Roman stands. They're face to face now. No table between them emotionally, even though physically it's still there. And then the verbal jabs turn sharper. More personal. More aggressive. Roman questions Brock's dominance. Brock questions Roman's legitimacy. And you can feel it. Neither man is backing down. Not even an inch. The authority figure tries to regain control. Bad move. Because control left the building the moment both men stepped into that ring. The tension boils over. It's not sudden. It's not random. It's inevitable. A shove. A glare. A step forward. And then chaos. The table flips. The crowd erupts. Microphones crash. Security rushes in and immediately regret it. Because when two apex predators decide to fight, nobody in a suit is stopping it. Punches fly. Not wild, but heavy. Each one feels like it could end the segment right there. Roman fires back. Brock answers harder. And suddenly, this isn't about WrestleMania hype anymore. This is about pride. This is about not being embarrassed in front of millions watching. Let me pause right here and ask you, who threw the first shot in your opinion? And did it matter? Because sometimes the first punch isn't the most important one. Sometimes it's the last one. Security gets tossed aside. Bodies hit the mat. The crowd is deafening. You can barely hear commentary. And then Brock does what Brock does best. He goes into destruction mode. German suplex. 1, 2, 3. The ring shakes. Roman rolls. Regroups. Tries to create space. But space doesn't exist when Brock smells blood. And just when it looks like the beast is about to completely dismantle the tribal chief, Roman explodes back. A sudden counter. A sudden shift. A sudden reminder that he's not just a champion, he's a strategist. He doesn't overpower Brock. He outmaneuvers him. And that right there? That's the difference between brute force and calculated dominance. The fight spills everywhere. The contract? Destroyed. The table? In pieces. The ring? A battlefield. And here's the genius of the segment. Neither man looked weak. Read that again. Neither man looked weak. That's rare. Usually in these segments, someone stands tall. Someone gets embarrassed. Someone eats a finisher and lies there while the other poses. Not here. Here it felt like unfinished business. Like both men left angry. Like both men left thinking they should have done more damage. And that's what hooks an audience. Frustration. Because frustration makes you want the payoff. And this entire segment was one massive, controlled explosion designed to make you crave the match. But let's dig deeper.